when we've done this at the end, are we going to do a full Patsy and just take a shot of Nº5 out of the Parfum bottle?
Oh, I'm not doing that. You're more than welcome.
That's like one of my favourite like ab fab scenes when they're sat in the taxi and and Patsy's drinking something and Eddie goes, "What is that?" And she went, "Oh, Chanel Nº5." She's just drinking it. Next, my second favourite scene is where the Christmas one where she actually eats for the first time and she doesn't remember how to eat. It's brilliant. It's so funny. I love ab fab.
It's Fume Chat, yeah, Fume Chat with Thomas and Nick. We talk perfume and fragrance with humor and wit. From Chanel Nº5 to Angel and more. We're covering the famous scents that you're looking for. It's time for some fragrances. It's time to start the show. It's Fume Chat, yeah.
Hello and welcome to Fume Chat. I am Thomas Dunkley and I do the intro because Nick is incapable.
That's true. Hi, I'm Nick Gilbert. Welcome to Fume Chat.
Ah, there you go. You managed kind of like a third of it, I guess.
Welcome. Hi.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. How you doing? That's a rhetorical question I don't really want to know.
And you can't answer in real time.
You can't, so what's the point? Just keep that to yourself. Nick, you have been a little bit busy. Have you been keeping a secret from us?
I have, yes, during lockdown, my alter ego / doppelgänger self, I started work on a campaign for a little known fragrance.
Okay.
Called Chanel Nº5.
I've not heard of it, actually.
Yeah.
Is it nice?
It's ever so nice.
Is it?
I think that's the official description. Ever so nice. So I'm obviously not Marion Cotillard. I say obviously not.
Well, I've never seen you both in the same room, so...
Right. Facts are facts.
But they may also be lies.
They may also be lies and delusions. But what happened was, once upon a time, I put on one of my mum's wigs that she had from when she did chemo. I took a photo, and then I was like, someone, as in multiple someones, said, "Well, you look a little bit Marion Cotillard." And ever since then, I've been convinced that I am, in fact, Marion Cotillard. And everyone else now sees it as well, because I've reinforced the fact that I need this delusion reinforced.
Yeah. So actually, Nick, we've got a lot of your loved ones here, and we've all brought you here together today because we want to talk to you about this delusion. This is not a podcast. It never has been.
It's all an intervention.
It's all been an intervention leading up to this point.
Well, thanks for coming, everyone, but it's fine.
Great.
You do know I am Marion.
So you are obviously not Marion. We joke, but
also like you should recognise the striking similarities we have.
Yes, I mean both Academy Award winning.
Yes.
Both
actresses, yes.
Famous for their terrible death scene in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes, yeah, it was awful.
I actually read her saying that they did that take about 40 times and they picked the worst take where she just goes and dies. It's just it's like the worst death scene ever, but it's kind of brilliant that they made Marion Cotillard do that because she's a very serious actress.
She's actually brilliant.
She's a brilliant actress, but really totally miscast in that movie. I think
it was swing and a miss. Yeah. Well, but this happens. But
yeah, she wasn't born in darkness. She was made in it. She wasn't born in Chanel. She was made in it. Yes, so Marion Cotillard, who may or may not be Nick, to be confirmed.
Who knows?
Who knows? I think most of us know the answer.
It's true, I am.
She's Don't just bring out the French as that's not the receipts.
C'est moi, Marion Cotillard.
I'm really tempted to put this like the title of this episode with Marion Cotillard. And so people special guest. So people think she's on it, but I don't know how that will. I think that might be fraud.
It's a very niche joke where there's like 10 people that understand.
Those 10 people will find it very funny.
And yeah, thanks.
And it's worth it for that.
I think it's worth it. It's a special guest star.
Yes, so Marion Cotillard / Nick have been announced as the face of Chanel Nº5.
Yes, earlier in the year, I was keeping it very stum.
You did keep it very stum. Very stum. Those NDAs from Chanel, they're very strong, watertight.
Yes, I'm not going to mess with that.
They have had a number of faces over the years. So Marilyn Monroe, quite famously.
Yes.
Catherine Deneuve.
Catherine Deneuve, Nicole Kidman.
Audrey Tautou.
Oh, I loved that Audrey Tautou.
That's my
advert.
second favourite because now my new favourite is the thing that we're going to talk
Yeah,
about.
okay.
Sorry.
We'll
get
it. Agreed.
Giselle, who did like ones that I wasn't that fond of with the surfboard, wasn't like a big fan of the Giselle.
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt was.
What was that? That was a choice.
Yeah, that was just garbage.
It was a choice. Not a good one.
I think that has been erased from history. I think
Oh yeah, it just doesn't exist anymore.
just doesn't exist anymore. They actually recut it really quickly, didn't they? Afterwards, to not
Yeah.
have his face in it. It was just him talking over the other bits.
Very odd.
It was not. It was an odd choice.
I kind of weirdly like the Giselle advert, but it was a bit weird. It didn't feel very Nº5.
I don't think of surfing.
No, it's not what I think of either.
No. Maybe, I don't know, beach volleyball, maybe, but
Yeah.
surfing, no. That was the only other like near sea adjacent like sport I could think of.
We're at a beach.
Or a beach. Yeah, so and that advert came out last week, and it is brilliant. I would say it's a return to form for Chanel.
It is stunning.
Yeah.
It is actually stunning, and I want to be there. I want to relive my experience on set. No, but genuinely,
If you hear any clattering around, that's my eyes rolling in my head.
just making all the noise. But genuinely, what a gorgeous advert.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. Just search Chanel Nº5. You'll find it. I'm not
Yeah.
going to do the work for you. Just go out.
No, go watch it. But they go to the moon.
They go to the
and have a
moon,
dance.
and the moon is like it's like kind of a gold color, and all the dust is
Yeah, it's
glittery.
Oh, it's just.
And they dance, and it's very like perfume advert. But that's what I love about it.
I know it kind of embraces the silliness, I guess,
Yeah.
of perfume adverts, but it's very dreamy and it is very beautifully shot. And
Yeah, it's gorgeous. But
and, I mean, what's really amazing actually is when we were on set. It was basically we took a few styrofoam cups of glitter, threw it around, and that was the moon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, the production values are much higher.
Yes, yeah.
Than were I to make the Chanel
Yes,
Nº5 ad.
I think so.
Although actually, maybe I'm going to do it a lockdown activity.
I think I would say that I'm not going to stop you, but I don't think anything could.
Nothing could.
So I just think it needs to go on said. So yeah, it's directed by Johan Renck, who is famous for the HBO miniseries Chernobyl, which if you haven't seen, actually fantastic. Have you seen that, Nick?
Not yet.
Actually fantastic.
It's one of those things that's like there's a list as long as my arm of things that I need to watch because it's fantastic television. I'm like, yeah, cool, great. But I've only just caught up with Watchmen. Which was amazing.
Yes, that was amazing. I did watch that. And also famously, he directed Madonna's Hung Up and Nothing Really Matters videos.
Oh, I liked Hung Up.
Yes, yeah. Well, she originally, this is Madonna Sidebar, play the jingle. There isn't one. She originally worked with David LaChapelle on that video, but due to artistic differences, they didn't go ahead with it. And they ended up doing it with Johan Renck.
Cape and pull her down some stairs.
That was quite some time after. Anywho,
I know it's a very different album.
it's a very different album. This was Confessions on the Dance Floor. That you're talking about Rebel Heart. We're going.
Oh goodness me!
As a Madonna fan, we do not recognise that album. Yes. So Marion Cotillard, Chanel.
It's
advert.
gorgeous.
It's an event. The Chanel advert is an event. It comes but once every few years.
Yes, they don't do a new campaign every year.
Not like John Lewis. Call it down, John Lewis. I'm the only one that hates the John Lewis adverts.
No, because they're twee and boring and really fucking heteronormative. Sorry,
I don't.
like,
Yeah.
fuck off.
I don't need to be inspired.
No.
And then this year's one's going to be insufferable because it's a lockdown one. It's just going to be.
Oh my god, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, for someone who already finds Christmas quite a traumatic experience, the kind of like, oh my god, the John Lewis advert made me cry stuff is a bit like, yeah, me too, but because I relived some trauma.
Yeah. Oh, I bet there's quite a fun thing to say to people when they're not expecting.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're like, why don't you like Christmas? Well, actually, some of us have trauma wrapped up
Yes.
in Christmas.
Yes.
Actually.
Yes, it's an event. It comes every couple of years. I think my favourite, probably tied with this one, I would say, is the Audrey Tautou one, which is kind of the escape on
the Orient Express.
Orient Express all the way to Venice, which is kind of like their like little story of Chanel.
Such a beautiful, such a beautiful outfit. It could have been a bloody movie. I'd have watched it.
It could have been. I think it was directed by the same guy that directed Amélie, wasn't it?
Ah.
Is it Jean-Pierre Jeunet?
Great question. Don't know.
I
I
feel
don't
like
know
that's
my
in my brain.
directors well enough because I don't care about it.
It's clanking around in my brain. He directed a really cool movie called Delicatessen, which is about these people living in a
Delicatessen.
No, well, kind of, they live above a delicatessen, and they are kind of slowly being eaten by the people that run the delicatessen and the people in the apartments. But then some vegetarian troglodytes come to save them. It's just hilarious. It's such a weird movie. You would love it.
Of this.
You would love
I need
Delicatessen.
to
It's a great
watch it.
movie. I've probably I've either made the movie up entirely because it's come from a fever dream, but I'm pretty sure it exists, or I've got the director wrong. But I'm pretty sure that's him.
Whatever that is, I need to see it.
I think I have the DVD somewhere.
Okay, well, yes, please.
Okay, anyway. So what were we talking about? Chanel. Okay, so Chanel #5. So we were thinking that campaign is so beautiful. Chanel, people associate with this time of the year because the advert normally comes out this time of
we
year.
used to sell shit tons of Chanel.
Yep,
Christmas. Absolutely. Like, metric shit tons.
I just love like that juxtaposition of Chanel #5 is the most beautiful fragrance. We used to sell shit tons of that. We sell shitload. Literally, people come in, fill up the baskets with fucking shitloads of Chanel.
Genuinely though, it would be insane. Like, there would be two entire shelves dedicated to it in my 11 cabinets.
Wow,
which was a lot.
That's
for
a lot.
anything.
That is a lot.
And it would all go.
Yeah.
And you get people on Christmas Eve coming in desperate because they've forgotten, and guess what? All the Chanel #5's gone. And
Yeah.
that's my personal fault. And I'm like, yes, because I sold it all.
Yes, I sold it because I'm very good at my job, and you obviously are not very good at your marriage because you're buying Chanel #5 for your wife the day before Christmas.
Yes.
So a bottle of Chanel #5 is sold every 30 seconds.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
No. So actually, we've been recording this for 10 minutes and 39 seconds currently.
That means
a lot.
That means 22 by probably.
I was like, I committed to that and then realized I'd have to do math. And I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Why?
by the time we finish that sentence, 22 bottles of it sold.
So Chanel #5 is probably the most famous perfume in the world.
Yes.
I was just when people think of fragrance, they think of Chanel #5.
Yeah, I don't think anyone could argue with that.
No, and if they do, then come at me, bro.
I mean, what's really interesting, there are a couple of books around Chanel #5 and the kind of history of Chanel, and you would be surprised by reading those books that it was ever a success because of all of the kind of like mess around it and the campaigns that started it.
Yeah, it was.
It was nowhere near what, like, the legend that it is now. It was nowhere near that where it started.
Yeah, and I suppose that's like all legends, though. I guess they don't start out. It didn't. It took
Come
a while
out
to
the
find
gates,
its feet.
yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about #5. We're going to talk a bit about the history, a bit about the materials, and then we've got Handily. Handily? Is that a word?
Handily. I think so.
Handily. We've got the 5 concentrations of #5.
Oh, perfect.
So
Lovely,
we're going to go
perfect.
through those in date order. So we're going to start with the oldest
Yep.
to the newest.
Yep.
It's so #5. It was Gabrielle Chanel's first fragrance.
Yes.
It was launched at a time when very few fashion brands would launch a fragrance. I believe there were others that had them.
Well, Poiret had Rosine at
Yes.
that point in time. And it's probably contested, but Chanel may have been the first to put the name of the couture house on the bottle or whatever, because but it was all around that point in time.
Yeah. So this was in 1921 it officially launched. I think there may be some like gifts and things of it before that time when it was created and people getting it when they went and bought a huge amount of Chanel clothing, I imagine. So at that time, fragrances were very much ingredient focused. Like they tend to be named after the ingredient that they were.
Or like the concept.
The concept, yeah. So there weren't very many abstract fragrances. I know there was Jiki in like 1889, but #5 was created to be deliberately artificial. Yeah. So Gabrielle Chanel wanted something that didn't smell like something in nature. So she wanted something, I think she was quoted as saying, oddly contradictory and an artificial fragrance because it's fabricated. And she wants something that felt like it was composed.
Okay.
So she worked with Ernest Beau, who was a Russian-born perfumer, and he was working on experiments with aldehydes at the time of the creation.
Yeah,
and
which were novel materials back then.
Absolutely, and he was really inspired by like the freshness of lakes and snow in the northern regions. Because I think that was reminiscent of his
upbringing. Background, yeah.
And he was using the aldehydes as a way of creating the sense of cold snow. So there are lots of different like conflicting stories about #5 about whether the
his
the
assistant
where the-
overdosed on accident by
Yeah,
misreading
there
the
you go.
formula, and
Yeah.
or whether it was an intentional thing,
Yeah.
or la, la, la. And was it the fifth one that she smelled?
Yeah.
And was this her lucky number? And all
Yeah.
of this kind of, there's a whole mythology.
which I kind of like that actually, because the reality is probably not very exciting. So
oh yeah, that one's right.
yeah. And so all these little bits are kind of nice to have in them. They add to the legend.
Yeah.
But I think the official story from Chanel is that she was presented with 5 bottles, or maybe more than 5 bottles.
More than
It
5
was more than
bottles.
5, and she picked the 5th one as the fragrance that she wanted, and that's why it was called Number 5. There you go.
So there we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
So we're going to smell the Parfum. This
Yes.
is a relatively new bottle of the Parfum. I've had this about
A couple of years.
4 years, I would say.
Yeah.
So it's obviously not the original formula, but
No, you can smell a version of that in the Osmotech.
Yeah.
They have a really lovely reconstruction, which is a bit more oomphy, musky animal.
okay, I would love to try that actually.
Would love to smell.
Yes, I would love to smell. I'll put it on my list. So we're going to talk. I think when we talk about how does Chanel Number 5 smell, I think this is a good place to start.
Well, 'cause this is where everything came from.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah. And we'll go on to the others after, because what's really important to note with all of the other fragrances is that even when they are different concentrations, such as the Eau de Toilette and the Eau de Parfum, they are entirely different perfumes.
Yes.
They,
Yeah. This was something that people couldn't get through their brains when I used to sell it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, each one's a different fragrance. They've been designed with different impact in mind. So.
Yeah. And created at very different times, so
Yeah,
they are
absolutely.
aligned to the styles of the decades that they were created.
Because there's no point in the 80s launching something that smelled exactly like the 20s. Why would that have worked when everyone wanted shoulder pads?
No,
Which-
exactly.
I mean, we'll get there.
We'll get there. We're building up to the shoulder
Yeah.
pads. But yes, so and that's not something that Chanel is even secretive about. I think they'd
Yeah.
be quite open about saying these are different fragrances. They're all interpretations of Number 5.
Yeah, it's different themes and different occasions and la 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 la. la.
Yeah. So the Parfum. What are we smelling? Other than something that smells really nice.
It's really nice.
You
So,
heard it here on Fume Chat first.
Chanel Number 5.
It's really nice.
It's right good, that.
It's good. People should talk about this more.
So mostly at the top you get the aldehydes,
Yeah.
which is that kind of like starchy. I know we've started to associate the scent of Chanel Number 5, or not started, it happened a long time ago, the scent of Chanel Number 5 with soap.
Yeah.
So you get that kind of, people say, oh, it smells like soap, whereas actually soap smells like Number 5.
Yeah, because Number 5 was so successful, people were making soaps that smelled like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it trickled down. It's like fashion.
Yeah.
The way that blue cerulean top you're wearing was it Oscar de la Renta? I could do the whole month from Desmond. Where's my Prada? I'm not going to because just boring.
Yeah. And Meryl will come for you.
I do not want to hear from Meryl's lawyers. No.
So yes, you get the aldehydes right at the top, which is that kind of like sharp, starchy, cold,
Yeah.
waxy, slightly fatty.
Yeah,
aspect.
like it is a little bit fatty. It's crisp and
Yeah.
it's like sparkly, a little bit lemony.
Yeah, absolutely. There's like a waxed citrus skin.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, isn't that a lovely image?
Mm.
And then it's basically a kind of abstract floral. So it's built around rose and jasmine, yes, but there's a hell of a lot of ylang as well, which is what's tying the aldehydes into the floral bouquet.
Mm-hmm.
So it acts kind of like the bridge. Nearly sent the mic flying when I gestured.
That's fine. You are an Academy Award-winning actress. So
You
as far
can
as
do
I'm
what you
concerned,
want.
you can do what you want.
So with the ylang, thankfully it doesn't smell like the oil,
Yeah.
because I find the oil a bit
It's a bit. Yeah.
not great. It's much smoother, it's much rounder.
Yeah.
You get the jasmine character a lot. For me, that's kind of more obvious than the rosiness.
Yeah, the rosiness is, I think, really subtle. I think
Yeah.
you would never smell this and think roses. I don't.
No,
think.
I don't. It would be very odd to
Yeah.
smell it and go, "Oh, it's
Yeah.
a rose." Yeah, it's not that at all.
And I think if you're listening to this and you're not too familiar with some of the terms we're using, when we talk about an abstract floral, that's a fragrance that uses like floral notes, but doesn't try and smell like any one flower. It could
Yeah.
be trying to create the smell of a new flower, like a flower that doesn't have a scent, like Kenzo flower is the scent of a poppy, which doesn't have a smell. Or it could just be trying to create something completely,
Novel and new.
that you can't place in nature.
Yeah, and then there's a big whack of vetiver in the back,
Yeah.
which
People don't talk about much.
They don't think about it much, but it's really there. So for me, that's the main sort of like theme and structure of the whole thing, is the kind of like musky, slightly animalic thing at the base that you get there. which has been dialed down over the years.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they've like had to tweak it. The vetiver above that, and then the abstract floral sea, which is the kind of jasmine ylang rose, and the aldehydes kind of poking out at the top, which has got that citrus, waxy, fatty character to them.
Yeah.
Very sparkly, very bright.
Yeah, the whole thing is very gold and very fizzy.
Yeah.
But also has like this plushness of fur. I think it's got a very smooth texture. It is still very luxurious now, which is quite fascinating given the fact that it has trickled down so much and has, you know, there are so many different versions of this in other fragrances that could cheapen it in a way.
Yeah, but it's still retained what it is, and
Yeah.
it's still retained its character very well.
Yeah.
So even if this is 4 years old, it still smells recognizably.
Yeah.
This is Nº5 Parfum.
Yeah, well, Chanel is fastidious around quality. So for
Yeah.
definitely for their jasmine and the May rose, they grow that themselves. They have their
they
own
own the
fields.
Yeah,
Which means that they have complete control over the
quality of it.
quality of the product that's
Yeah.
coming in. They have an in-house perfumer. I imagine a good degree of his job is also he's Olivier Polge, in case you're wondering.
yeah, but also Chris Sheldrake
Yes.
is there, and I think basically most of Chris Sheldrake's job is
Keeping things.
keeping Nº5 smelling like Nº5.
It's not a bad job. And I suppose the other fragrances as well in the collection.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're working on making that fragrance smell, you know, through variations in natural materials and changes in regulation to make
Yeah.
Nº5 up to spec.
Yeah,
And
still smell Nº5E, which is
yeah,
it's quite hard to pick apart Nº5, I think, as well, because it's so familiar as part of like the landscape of life.
Yeah.
Like you just smell it all the time.
yeah, yeah. It'll be so familiar for people. I imagine. I mean, I talk to people about fragrance, and Nº5, you know, comes up. Do you mind not sighing at me, Pugsy? It's very rude.
It was like a snore sigh.
It was.
Schnai.
A lot of people associate it with their mothers, I think,
Yeah.
because it's kind of been a fail-safe fragrance for people. People buy Nº5, and then people fall in love with it. They get bought it as
Yeah.
a gift, and it's like, oh, this is my fragrance now. Because I think for a lot of people, that is a perfume. To them,
Yes.
Nº5 is a perfume, and they
Yeah,
might
yeah.
not wear anything else.
I mean, what used to be really interesting when I was selling fragrance was a lot of people would say, "Oh, I love Chanel Nº5," and I'd be like, "What do you love about it?" And they're like, "Well, it's just so glamorous." And I think that's a really cool perception of it, because it feels like it is quite the addition to the everyday. If you're going to wear Nº5, it's just a signature thing.
Yeah,
It's like dressed up. I'm dressed up now.
yeah.
Ready
It's
to go.
it's going out. It's an out perfume. It's out.
Perfume is like putting a string of pearls on. I couldn't think of the words.
What I would say is also, if you find that you don't like Nº5 and you've never smelled the Parfum, then you need to smell the Parfum.
Yes.
Because it's so different from the Eau de Toilette and the Eau de Parfum, which are the other. Because I think people think of Nº5 differently, because we were talking about this earlier before we started recording, that people's idea of Nº5 will depend on which concentration that they were wearing or they bought.
Or they've
Yeah.
experienced on somebody.
Yeah. So for me, it was always the Eau de Parfum.
Yeah, for me it was the EDT.
Yeah, so we have very kind of different experiences of it. Whereas the Parfum is something I came to later in life. Not that I'm that late in my life. And I would say that's probably my favourite concentration, because it's
It's
stunning.
pretty exquisite.
You can't beat it, really.
No. And I mean, what's cool about it is it's not too dense or anything like that. And I think that's one of the expectations people have of like a Parfum concentration, that it should be dense. But actually you can feel all the light and the gold and everything in this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a big glass room with gold windows, and you're just literally standing in the middle of it, and it's just so spacious. Yeah, it's not dense at all.
No. But then there are starchy curtains.
Yes, starchy curtains. They've been
Linens.
freshly ironed.
Linens.
Shall we move on to the Eau de Toilette? then?
Shall we? So I don't actually know what date the EDT appeared, but probably quite early on, because people would have wanted to wear it with liberal abandon.
So I think the original was 1921, and if memory serves me correctly, the Eau de Toilette was 1924.
Yeah, so this version will have been updated quite significantly.
Yeah.
It's probably about 15, 16 years old, this bottle.
Yeah.
So probably lost a bit of the aldehydic top note, actually.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So it's not as sort of bright, actually, as the Parfum is at the moment.
So this one is also created by Ernest Beau. He said he's revisited it to create an Eau de Toilette version.
Yeah.
That made it a lot more accessible for people.
Yeah, there was also an eau de cologne going around of it back in the day, but not so much.
No.
As in, it doesn't exist anymore.
No. So not at all.
Not at all. But you can find if you're a vintage scouring
Yeah.
person.
I'm sure you can
it.
find that bottle of vinegar somewhere on it.
Sour.
So the EDT for me is much more soapy. It's much starchier. It's much crisper. To me, it feels a little bit more standoffish. It's a kind of a bit more uptight.
I feel I get that. It's quite buttoned up, and it's also more cosmetic to me as well. So you've got a sort of like face cream, face powder,
Yeah, totally.
and soap thing going on with it. So you still feel the aldehydes. I feel like the citrus character is slightly more pronounced, and then the floralcy is a bit more thick and, for lack of a better word, traditional smelling.
Yeah.
Because it has a kind of real classic vibe, the EDT, and this to me is proper woman that wears Nº5 smell, because that's how I remember it growing up.
Yeah, and I feel like I had a bad experience with this fragrance because I had a meeting with somebody once who was soaked in Nº5 EDT.
Oy.
And it was like a warm day. It was a warm day. And it was just, I just feel like, ooh, no. So this
Quite
is my
oppressive
least,
at that point.
probably my least favourite.
Was it because it was so like on top of you?
Yeah, it's just oppressive. But I admire it because I think that kind of, I don't know, almost that like sharp, starchy, pursed lip kind of vibe is kind of very Chanel, I think.
It's slightly more petally actually as well than the
Yeah, because the parfum's a bit more like, kind of a bit more like, I don't want to say creamy, but it's a bit more like heady white flower.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit more like dewy, fresh white flower.
But with that powdery aspect as well. So you've got that kind of like cosmetic meets.
Yeah.
So to me, this is the most Chanel Nº5 is a soap fragrance. That's where I really get the comparison and the association.
Yeah. Nº5 body products. Let's talk.
See, I've never really used any of them.
Okay.
Aside from the testers in the store when we had them. And I always wanted the soap because I thought it looked so bougie.
Yeah, the soap is pretty gorgeous.
Because it used to come in this like really, kind of gross but also beautiful plastic case.
Yeah.
I just wanted it.
It was very like kind of like pastel pink 1950s bathroom, isn't it?
I loved it.
So they seem to regularly kind of chop and change the products. So they've just released a load of new. Well, I think there's 4 or 5. So there's a shower gel, which is really nice. I've got that in my shower currently. And they've got a hair mist, which obviously I'm not using because I have a number 2 on my hair, so I have a buzz cut. So what's the point?
For the long flowing locks behind you.
Yes.
Pop it on the pooch.
There is a rich body. Yeah, he would not like that. A rich body cream, which is heaven. Like it works so beautifully.
I mean, I do like Chanel's body products.
Yeah, there was a bath oil a while back that was really good, and they did those gold like
the
gold
shimmery
oil,
oils.
yeah, and the dry
shimmer
oil.
oils.
I have lots of Nº5 stuff. Yeah, it works really well as a product. It's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it translates quite nicely into that theme.
Yeah,
I think
it does. Okay, so let's move on to the Eau de Parfum. I think this is for a lot of people the one they remember.
This is Chanel Nº5 to most people.
I think also because historically it's a bit weird. The bottles have chopped and changed, but the Eau de Toilette has not come in the Chanel Nº5 bottle. And when I say that, you will know exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Because it's the Chanel Nº5 bottle, which is iconic as the Volkswagen Beetle and I don't know, the Hershey's chocolate bar. It's it's an iconic thing. So most people would want it in that bottle, so they would go for the Eau de Parfum. Whereas the Eau de Toilette comes in not as nice a bottle.
Well, I mean, that's a refill bottle for a plastic case spray, that one there, which is so that's particularly ugly because it was never meant to be seen.
Okay, all right. Fine.
But
Just remember that our readers, viewers, listeners can't see it.
they can't see it, but maybe we could post a photo of
Maybe we
something. Probably not going to happen.
So the Eau de Parfum was by Jacques Polge, who was up until fairly recently the in-house perfumer.
Yeah.
And that came in, I think, 1986, a year before I was born.
Here after I was born. Can you believe?
No, I can't.
Can you
I would have said
believe?
1996 at least. This one is immediately sweeter.
Yeah.
It is not like gourmand sugary sweet, but it's like sweet floral.
Yeah. So it's much more white floral jasmine sweetness.
Yeah.
And the aldehydes or the aldehydic part feels different.
Yeah, it's not as bubbly crisp.
No, it's more starchy. I mean business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I'm very much making shoulder movements.
Yeah,
like
it's very-
I mean business.
Yes, I own 51% of this company. It's very that.
Do
very
you do
that.
a businesswoman special? That kind of thing.
Yeah. You almost imagine like a woman standing with like a really 80s phone in her power suit, like in one of those like catalog adverts, and she's like
Yes!
standing there
Love
looking
it.
like, I am the boss. Yeah, it's like much more sweet jasmine syrupy, like white floral, and then like huge sandalwood, like really big woody,
Yeah.
creamy plush wood.
It feels kind of like, when did Samsara come out?
That was like 89, was it?
Okay, it's really interesting because obviously there was some kind of like there was a sandalwood situation
Yeah.
of the 80s, and it really feels Samsara-y to me actually. So I wonder what happened there. But that kind of like jasmine sandalwood vibe that's going on. But then you've got the aldehydes on top, which are much sort of like
This fragrance is quite
Wax.
buttery. To
Yes.
me.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
texture is buttery.
Yeah, I get that. It's more dense
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
structure. It's more like boom.
Yeah, and the kind of more
Rocky.
golden ambery color of the fragrance in the bottle is kind of accurate to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, Samsara was 89. I just checked.
cool.
That was a win for my brain. Well done.
Well done.
I don't know
Brain.
where that came from.
Yeah, 89 actually. Actually, it was very much 1989. But obviously, I mean, maybe that's like a tweak of it afterwards, or who knows what happened. But there's definitely a more kind of like sandalwood jasmine character here.
Yeah.
You still get the vetiver, you still get some of the rosy ylang thing that's going on, but that's more of what's going on here.
Yeah.
Syrupy, sweet, creamy, buttery, warm, all of those things.
Just a thought on the aldehydes in this one. So when I think about the Eau de Toilette and the Parfum,
Yeah.
the aldehydes are much more like the tiny bubbles in a champagne glass.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like very, you can almost like, they bite and they pop because they're crisp. These bubbles are like much bigger. They're almost
Yeah.
foamy in a way.
Frothy.
They're frothy because
Yeah.
it's like, there's not that like crispness to it.
Or fineness even.
No.
This feels much more like broad strokes than like
totally.
watercolor or whatever else.
Yeah, you zoom in and you realize actually the picture's not quite as like defined. It's not HD.
yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, this is the one that I used to spray most in store because people would be like, "Oh, I want the strong one," and you can't see. I just roll my eyes. But I used to have countless conversations, especially at this time of year, about but which one is it that she wears?
Yeah, which one is it?
Because
She'll know.
She'll know. Like go and by this point, camera phones did exist. So be like, just take a bloody picture and come and show me.
Yeah, exactly.
So, just like, or make a note of what it says on the bottle.
Yeah,
It's very easy.
It's not that difficult. Just look at the bottle and see what it says.
Very easy.
Are
It
we
used to frustrate me?
When we've done this at the end, are we gonna do a full patsy and just take a shot of number 5 out of the Parfum bottle?
Oh, I'm not doing that. You're more than welcome.
That's like one of my favorite like ab fab scenes when they're sat in the taxi and and Patsy's drinking something, and Eddie goes, "What is that?" And she went, "Oh, Chanel Nº5." She's just drinking it. Next, my second favorite scene is where the Christmas one where she actually eats for the first time and she doesn't remember how to eat. It's brilliant. It's so funny. I love ab
Miss
fab.
Ab Fab.
I know I miss ab fab.
I'm gonna have to watch it again. Is it on Netflix?
It was on Netflix. It must still be there.
I'm sure it's there.
Okay, so the EDP, which is the one I've historically worn more, but now probably wouldn't wear. Tastes have moved on for me,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I get that. And to me, the EDT and the Parfum are more sort of like, I don't ascribe gender to it.
Yeah.
Whereas the EDP, I think that's for women. And
Yeah.
I can't like
I
separate
think it's
it.
just so defined in that 80s
Yeah.
feminine style.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm much more, this is probably odd. No one's ever done this before, but I really just wear a couple of dabs of the Parfum to bed, I would say.
No one famous has ever mentioned.
No one's
doing
ever
that.
done
No
that.
one's ever done
No,
that.
show me a quote. Show me a quote. No. Yeah, I'm very Marilyn Monroe like that.
Yeah.
And in other ways.
In many other ways.
I can't.
Singing "Happy Birthday" to the President is about it.
Well, we'll wait a couple of hours and I'll tell you whether I'm going to.
I'll tell you what. We'll tell you who it is.
So the next one is Eau
Premiere.
Eau Premiere,
Yes.
which came in, I think, 2007.
That
Another
sounds right.
Jacques Polge creation.
Yeah.
This almost started its own trend because this was a couple of other brands did this as well. This was meant to be, okay, Nº5 is aging, it's older, it's classic. How do we bring younger customers to it?
Yeah.
So it's meant to be an entry level Nº5 that modernizes it in a way but keeps the signature. And then, you know, other brands have done that. Dior have done that with fragrances. Guerlain famously did it with Shalimar and made Parfum Initial, which is probably one of their better fragrances that now...
It's now impossible to get hold of unless you're in Paris, right? Or in their stores or something.
Yeah, they've got an exclusive which costs like 3 times the amount that it cost when you bought it, which I think is a little bit annoying.
It's what it is.
It is what it is, but it's still a great fragrance. So this one is, I don't know, it's more floral, but like lighter and less kind of, it's kind of interesting going from this one from the EDP because you get rid of all of the heft, all of the strong, creamy, woody, the buttery character.
Stripped out the intensity.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't think
Recognizably Nº5.
Yeah.
To me. So you've got the kind of like, you've still got, I think the aldehydes again are more bubbly. There's more of a sort of like mandarin.
Yeah, it's more citrus,
more
isn't it?
citrusy vibe going on. And to me, it's mandarin. I don't know what the notes say or whatever, but that's what I really feel. And then you've got the sort of like floral structure, but very transparent in style. So it's more Hedionish than Jasmine-ish.
Yeah, totally.
But it's still got the form of Nº5. It still recognizably is.
Yeah,
but
it's much more delicate.
Yeah, and I think. I feel like I remember discussions at the time of like why would Chanel do this?
Yeah,
and like it's a beautiful thing, but you do have to try and keep a fragrance that's been around for 100 years basically.
Yeah,
at this
it's
point.
99 years currently.
Relevant.
Yeah,
because what are you gonna do? Well, eventually, people are gonna stop buying it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because the customer's not gonna be there anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Sadly.
This I think it has more of like a very transparent vanilla aspect to it.
Yeah, that's true. There's because vanilla is present in most of the others, but it's kind of like hidden behind the vetiver.
Yeah, totally.
And here, because the woody aspect is played down, you can detect it more. I've just thrown my blotter at myself.
Well done. I don't find it that modern, really.
No, that was the thing that kind of melted my brain a bit. Is then launching it saying it's a modern thing, and I was just like, I don't see it, but okay.
Yeah. In my review of this, I wrote that sniffing Eau Premiere in comparison to the earlier Parfum and Eau de Toilette is like looking at Nº5 through a silk curtain. And that's like laughable. I can't believe I wrote that.
That is, that's gay.
That's gay. That, newsflash, is homosexual. It's gay. It's gay.
That is very gay, right?
Yeah, I think that might actually be the gayest thing I've done. If you think about it, writing that about a flanker to Chanel Nº5 is pretty gay, isn't it? That's pretty gay.
Yeah. That is, that's really gay, that is.
Yeah, which is awkward because I'm going to have to go home and tell my wife now.
What's she going to say? Poor Nigel. She's going to be so surprised.
She's going to be really surprised. I'll have to sit her down. And, this is, I can take or leave this one, I'll be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm of the same opinion.
It's not a bad fragrance. It's actually a very well crafted fragrance. It's just a non-event to me.
Yeah. I mean, it still smells very Chanel. It still smells very Nº5. I don't care for it as much as I care for the next one.
Okay, so you will see, like, I've had all of these the same period of time.
Yeah.
So I've brought to the table the Eau de Parfum, well, everything except the Eau de Toilette.
Yeah.
So the Eau de Parfum, the Eau Premiere, and the Nº5 L'Eau, which is the next one, which is the latest version. And there is by far lots more in that bottle that has gone.
Yeah, I love this.
I think this is just really clever. So this is Olivier Polge, who is the new perfumer at Chanel. That's the brand.
That's the brand.
That's the brand. I couldn't think of them. They're not very well known. Sometimes they don't stick in my brain. And this came out in 2016. And this is kind of a Nº5 for the customer of today. So almost like the same customer that would have bought Nº5 when it launched. I think, but now. So the idea behind this one is that it's just... I can't describe it. It's just so much more 2016 this decade.
It's vibrant,
yeah,
fizzy, green, clean.
Yeah, very white musk, isn't it?
Yeah, very white musk. So there's like a laundry vibe to it. If for me, if you sort of like compare it, it feels really specifically like it was designed for the Asian market because of the transparency that it has.
Possibly.
And to try and win over some of the Asian consumers to Chanel No. 5, because I'm sure people want to wear it, but that doesn't fit like Japanese sensibilities, for example, with the EDP.
Yeah, no,
No,
you'd be arrested.
So that to me is part of what it felt like. So not just trying to capture a modern consumer, which definitely it should do with this scent profile, which is very fizzy, vibrant, bright. Like the citrusy aspect, I think, is really nice here.
Well, yeah, because I think what they've cleverly done in this one, which they didn't do in the Eau Premiere, is they've kind of pretty much, I'm sure not removed, but the aldehyde is not the impression, really.
No.
It's a more of a sparkling citrus thing, which I think instantly makes it feel more modern. I think the aldehydes do date it. Yeah, because they are,
because we
they're
have
either
the associations.
Yeah, either the 20s or the 80s is where they're going to go. So I think they've been sensible. You've got a much cleaner white floral. For me, I describe this one, I think, as like it's like a girl wearing her boyfriend's shirt. It's like it's that kind of like fresh, clean, but it's got some like really sort of lovely intricacy to those florals. This came with a great campaign actually, which was what was it? You Know Me and You Don't, I think it was.
Oh yeah, that was clever.
Yeah,
I mean, although like, what if you didn't know Chanel? Like, what if you weren't familiar and you're just being introduced to it in this campaign? But you know, it was cool for those of us who have followed Chanel, and their fragrances for a long time and smelled these things.
It's amazing because it smells like No. 5.
Yeah,
but also not.
It's very clever, the fact that the signature is recognizable, but it's not that fragrance.
No.
And I mean, had anyone else done it, you'd think it was just a watered down No. 5 attempt. But you understand exactly what they're going for. And it's incredibly elegant.
It's so elegant and it's so easy to wear. You can wear it anywhere.
It's like jeans and t-shirt.
Yeah, totally.
Super easy, but also you could wear it out if you were going to go out. Who's doing that anymore?
Yeah, exactly. I really feel it would take you from day to night. This is my favorite.
I'm about died.
This is my favorite. I wear it a lot. It's a No. 5 for today. I think if you hate No. 5, you should go try it anyway because I think it might surprise you. Nick is still laughing. I can't believe he was hired by Chanel as the face of this fragrance when he's so damn unprofessional.
Sorry, I'm so unprofessional.
So unprofessional.
I mean, yeah, but it really could take different taste.
It really could. It's classic like that. Oh dear, we've lost him.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
It's over.
It's over. It's all over, guys. It's all over.
OVAH over. Oh, I love Catholic Kim. Anyway, I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Very, very easy to wear. It's both of them.
So is there
stealing some of yours?
Okay, that's fine. Is there anything else we should say about No. 5 that hasn't already been said?
I mean,
by
watch
us or
my
others?
advert. I will do signatures, autographs, £10 on PayPal.
I'm actually going to have to put a disclaimer at the end of this to say you are not Marion Cotillard. Please do not sue us, Chanel or Marion Cotillard.
I mean, I'm more than willing. Let's see if we can recreate that.
Yeah, Nick is willing to take selfies with you. The selfies will be him recreating his famous death scene in The Dark Knight Rises. Okay.
I mean, but genuinely.
So that was Chanel No. 5 in its 5 incarnations. We would love to hear what your memories and associations with this fragrance are and your thoughts,
and
just
your
generally.
Favorite version.
Yeah,
what do you like?
Please leave them in the comments of this podcast because comments are famously a thing that come with podcasts.
Wait, can they do it on the fumechat.com or not?
I don't know. I don't really know. No, I don't think I turn comments on.
Okay.
I didn't want the hate. I didn't want the haters.
Well, maybe. But are they on the YouTubes? Because you put us on the YouTube.
Yeah, I'm starting to put us on the YouTubes. They will be. So if you're listening via YouTube, then you can put a comment on. And if you're not, then I suppose go to YouTube and leave us a comment
there. Or actually, just do the social media.
Yeah, do the social medias. Yeah. And we'd love to know what your favourite No. 5 is. And just any No. 5 thoughts, really.
Yes. What is your favourite number?
Yes. Is it 5?
Is it 5? Actually.
Yeah.
6. Don't tell
Can you
Chanel,
imagine
they'll
if they
fire
ever
me.
did a number 6?
It would just be so weird.
It would be so weird. Because they've got 18, 22, 19,
19.
and that's it, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, and then the 1957, but
That doesn't count.
That's a
They've
year,
got
not
that's a year,
number.
1957 and 32. They've
Yeah.
got. And they've also got La Pausa, which used to be 28 La Pausa.
Yes. Yes.
They love a number.
Do you love a number?
Yeah.
A thought.
A thought.
I'll leave you with a thought.
We'll
What
leave you
if
a
they
thought.
did number 6. That's the thought.
Can't
Bye.
wait. Number 5, the sequel. Number 6. Okay, goodbye to you all.
Bye-bye.
It's Fume Chat, yeah, Fume Chat with Thomas and Nick. We talk perfume and fragrance.
Fume Chat is an all fiction production. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Fume Chat. We're also on Facebook as Fume Chat. And we have a website which is www.fumechat.com. Very often the products that we feature are products that have been sent to us by brands. We are never paid for any of our episodes. If we are paid, we will tell you because we're pretty nice like that and we'd like you to know. Sometimes the products are also things that we brought from home. Just enter into it with that expectation. Okay, thanks. Bye.
From Chanel Nº5 to Angel and more. We're covering the famous scents that you're looking for. It's time for some fragrances. It's time to start the show. It's Fume Chat, yeah, Fume Chat. Here we go.